In the early hours of May 28, 2016, a very unusual and disturbing event took place in Zimbabwe. A huge African elephant slowly approached the Bumi Hills Safari Lodge. Its walk was unsteady, and it seemed like it might collapse at any moment. The staff and guests of the lodge watched in amazement as the weakened animal appeared to be deliberately seeking help from humans. Everyone was astonished by how smart the elephant turned out to be. It seemed to understand that only people could help him, and he intentionally came to the lodge. This unusual behavior impressed those present and made them think about the intelligence and depth of these majestic animals. The elephant, later named Pretty Boy, was carefully examined by a local doctor. 2 old bullet wounds were found on his ear, a serious infected wound on his shoulder, and most importantly, a deep bullet wound on his forehead. It became clear that Pretty Boy had been a victim of poachers. Without wasting time, the lodge staff contacted Dr. Richard Hoare, an experienced veterinarian specializing in wildlife treatment. Learning about the critical situation, Dr. Hoare immediately flew in by helicopter from the capital, Harare, ready to help the injured elephant. To safely examine and treat Pretty Boy, the veterinarian and his team first sedated the elephant. This allowed people to approach the huge animal safely, which now lay calmly on the ground. Dr. Hoare and his assistants carefully cleaned the deep wound on Pretty Boy's shoulder, which was 10 centimeters deep. They used a special metal detector to check if any bullet fragments remained in the wound, but found nothing. The wound on Pretty Boy's forehead worried everyone the most. It was dangerously close to the brain, and veterinarians feared the infection might spread further. Fortunately, after a thorough examination, it turned out that the wound had not reached the brain, and the elephant had survived by a miracle. The treatment lasted several hours. During the complex surgery, Pretty Boy was given large doses of antibiotics to fight the infection and painkillers to ease his suffering. A special collar with a radio transmitter was also placed around the elephant's neck. This would allow them to monitor his movements and health after recovery. When the operation was completed and the effect of the sedative wore off, Pretty Boy slowly got to his feet. Despite his exhaustion, there was a sparkle in his eyes. He looked at the people who saved him, as if thanking them, and slowly walked back into his native bush, where his herd awaited. In the following weeks, the veterinary team closely monitored Pretty Boy's condition. They were delighted to see him getting stronger every day. His appetite improved, and the wounds began to heal. The monstrous incident with Pretty Boy did not go unnoticed. A video of his rescue spread worldwide, inspiring admiration and sympathy in millions of people. However, the story did not end there. Local authorities and conservationists decided to put an end to poaching in the area. Knowing that criminals often return to the scene of their crimes, a serious crackdown on poachers was announced. A team of experienced rangers stayed in ambush for several days, discreetly following the elephant herd. Their patience and vigilance were finally rewarded. The poachers did return, intending to finish off the wounded Pretty Boy and possibly others from his herd. But this time, luck was not on the criminals' side. The rangers acted quickly and decisively, successfully arresting the entire group of poachers. Now they faced trial and long prison sentences for their cruel actions against wildlife. Meanwhile, Pretty Boy continued to recover. Several months after the incident, veterinarians were happy to announce his full recovery. Only the deep scar on his forehead will remain forever as a reminder of the ordeal he went through. This story became a turning point for the region. It not only drew attention to the problem of poaching, but also showed how important timely actions to protect wildlife are. Many people, inspired by Pretty Boy's story, began actively supporting conservation organizations and participating in elephant conservation programs. The case with Pretty Boy also highlighted the remarkable intelligence and emotional depth of elephants. The way he came to people for help made many reconsider their attitude towards these majestic animals. Ultimately, Pretty Boy's story became a symbol of hope. It showed that even in the face of cruelty and injustice, joint efforts, compassion, and decisive action can lead to positive changes. This case reminded us all of our responsibility to preserve nature and protect its most vulnerable inhabitants.